Hey everyone, good morning. My name's Amanda and thank you for watching my channel. Today I'm going to collect fig leaves from my fig trees and I'm going to show you how I'm going to do that and show you also how I dry them and what I like to use them for. I have 4 fig trees on our property and I brought a basket along and some shears and a towel. I'm going to line the basket because you do get sap from fig trees. Not all the time for when I'm cutting branches and things like that. So we're going to just take the shears and I'm actually removing some thin branches that are just kind of on the lower trunk area. I'm trying to clean this up because my kids love to come play under the fig tree and I always get worried about either them running into something or, also on the lower base too with snakes. I don't want to have to be really worried about them playing underneath this fig tree and then there's snakes hiding out around this area. So I'm removing these really thin baby fig branches. I'm perfectly fine with that because I have 4 fig trees and this one here is my biggest fig tree. So I'm just removing this little branch here and we're going to use all these fig leaves from it. This is just helping cleaning all this up. I'm still learning a lot about fig trees and what I can use the fig leaves for and a lot of recipes. I mean, there's so many amazing recipes for figs and the fig leaves. I really love drying my fig leaves and using it in my coffee because it's very beneficial. Another recipe that my daughter and I really like that I just tried around St. Patrick's Day was the fig leaf sugar cookies. They are so tasty and you take the fig leaves and you dry them up and then you grind it into a powder and it's so amazing. It's full of flavor and it's really neat because it makes your cookies super green. I will link the video of that in the description box, so if you're curious of how I made them. I did make them gluten-free. I am gluten-free, so you can always just substitute the gluten-free flour for wheat flour and it'll still work perfectly fine. But they are really tasty and fun and really festive and just neat for the kids because they're green. They are a bright green color. Last year when I dried a lot of fig leaves, I actually took the fig leaves from the upper part of the tree, but this year I thought, we have so many little baby sprouts popped up from the bottom, creating all these little branches, and I thought this would be smart to take from here, so that way it just really cleaned it up and finessed it. My youngest, he absolutely loves coming over to this fig tree and hanging out, especially when we bring the splash pad out and the kids are all playing, and he just comes over here and hides. It's so cute, but we can all see him, of course, but he's just in that adventurous stage. And we did have a snake not too long ago in our backyard. I mean, everyone's gonna have it, but I just always get very worried and I'm always trying to be very cautious because I have little ones and they love playing out in the backyard. So this definitely just really helps. Also, I'm not taking the fig leaves from the top, I'm taking them from the bottom. And this will help with letting the growth in other areas than those smaller branches. So this will help. And again, I'm still learning about this. So if you have any tips to help me, please let me know. I'm still learning about pruning my fig trees, all that. I'm really learning. We did prune the fig tree up in the front this year and it is extremely bushy and cute. I was worried for a while that it wasn't gonna grow back like how it was, but it looks so cute and I'm really happy we did prune the one up front. So I will show you guys that one too. But this is the big fig tree that we have. This one here is a brown turkey fig tree. And I'm gonna go ahead and show you another fig tree. This one over here, it actually split in half and fell over when we had a storm come through. So my dad gave me the idea to go ahead and take some rope and tie the 2 main trunks together, and that way it'll help. And it really did help a lot. It actually is doing amazing. I was so worried that we weren't going to have this one back. One day I would like to relocate this one. I know I'll probably have to just completely trim it down, but it is close to the house foundation area, so I am worried about that. So one day we will probably remove this one completely, but for right now I'm still gonna take what I can from it. This one is a different fig tree. I am not 100% sure what type of fig tree this one is. I mean, there's so many different types of fig trees. We were just blessed that when we bought this house there were fig trees on the property, so this was really neat for how big they are. I believe this is a Celeste fig tree because it does have more of a purple coating on the outside of the fig. It is really tasty. I love this one a lot, and I love the brown turkey fig too. They make great jams. I have quite a few recipes on how I make fig jams. I will be adding some more this summer. because I mean I have 4 fig trees and we get quite an abundance of them, and they actually go so well in the morning for my kids for breakfast, and even adding them into oatmeals, adding it into ice creams, cookies, you name it. I mean, there's endless possibilities. I actually found a few recipes that I want to try for making some fig cakes this summer, so we will be exploring with that. So again, I will be having a lot more recipes popping up this summer with fig recipes, and including figs into, you know, your everyday meals and things like that. So there'll definitely be more of those coming up this summer. This area is looking a lot better now that I've been trimming up the small branches off this big trunk. It really cleans it up. My kids run through here. I always get so nervous. That's why we have one of the chairs blocking that, because my youngest, he loves to run through everything and get into everything. So I was trying to deter him from going through that area for a while, but we have quite a bit of good collection of leaves so far, and always watch out for dirty ones. I definitely go through, and this one I'm discarding because that's nasty. I am also going to have to order some more gloves for when I pick the figs, because the figs do give out a sap and it can burn your fingers. I've heard some people actually had some reactions to it, like a really bad reaction. For me, it just really burns my fingertips if I don't wear gloves. So I definitely wear gloves with them. And we learned the hard way, because I didn't really know anything about that. The first time that we were picking them, my daughter and I, she was saying her hands were burning, they were burning, and I was like, are you sure? And then I finally had it happen. So from now on, we always have gloves when we pick the figs from the fig trees. This is our 3rd fig tree. I want to say this is another Celeste fig tree, and this is wrapped around the side of our house. This one here is a smaller one. We get a good amount, but not as much as the other 2, the ones that I just already cut. I do enjoy getting out here picking figs with the kids. I am very worried though about my toddler, because he is just really learning a lot about gardening lately, and he picks everything that's either green and not the color it should be, or extremely small and not ready to be picked. So I'm worried about him going straight for the figs. And my mom gave me an idea that I should just go ahead and give him like a little basket and hand him stuff that is already, you know, full size, because I feel like we're going to lose a lot of stuff, or we're going to be eating a lot of fried green tomatoes this summer. So I have to really start thinking about things to preoccupy him when it's time to start picking stuff. I'm also worried about him getting the sap on his fingers. So we're going to have to figure something out for him when it is definitely time to start picking the figs from the fig tree and other things like that throughout the garden. It's definitely been a big adventure with him. But at the same time, they are really cute, precious moments that, you know, you only get once when they're little. So I have to remind myself, he's still little, he's still learning so much, and those are the times to really enjoy memories like that. This is our last fig tree. This is the 4th one. This is the one we pruned this year, and it was bigger, but I felt like it was too big. I hate when they get too tall up top and I can't really reach it. And then we get these gigantic crows. We call them chicken crows because they are huge. So this area here on the bottom definitely needs to be really cleaned up. I'm actually gonna have to get the weed whacker out here too and really, you know, trim as much as I can, because I get so nervous about snakes. My kids, they go through the bushes. They are all about being outside and sometimes not fully aware of their surroundings. So I'm always trying to be, you know, proactive about getting out here to trim this. And so is my husband. He's a huge help with getting the grass cut and weed whacking for me. So that's a really huge help with that. But, you know, this is our last fig tree, and it is really bushy this year since we pruned it. So that's the first time we really extremely pruned one of the fig trees, this one here. The one that is the biggest one in the backyard. Normally I have my husband just cut some of the top branches to make them smaller.
You want
for
help?
me.
There you go. Oh, not my feet. Spray the plants. There you go. Good job.
My youngest woke up from his nap, so we watered the garden before we brought all the fig leaves into the house to dry up.
Thank you. Good job. All right, you ready to go in?
We have the floor robots cleaning right now, and we're going to go ahead and clean up our fig leaves and get those going. I love to use the salad spinner when I wash them. It works really perfect. So I'm just going to fill it up a good portion of it. And I always check the leaves to make sure that there's nothing on them that, looks bad. You can find eggs on them. You could find, just anything. And you don't want to take a leaf that looks really bad or nasty. You want to try to find ones that look healthy and clean, because you're going to be drying them up and, consuming them. So you definitely want to make sure that they are very healthy looking. I'm just pulling them off the branches that I clipped them from the fig tree, and I'm going to set the branches aside. And you can start to remove the stems if you would like to that are a part of the fig leaves, or you can just go ahead and wash them up and then, remove them and put them in the food dehydrator, or just leave them all on there and then remove them at the end when you go to put them in a mason jar or a Ziploc bag. But definitely remove them from the branch, and then also make sure you definitely wash it thoroughly. You will find as you are, moving stuff along, like here, there's some stuff on this leaf. You'll find stuff you want to discard and definitely not dry up. So that one I definitely threw away. And you'll come across stuff like that. You may even find like little tiny spiders. This is why it's definitely a process. You make sure that you clean it thoroughly. Also finding the leaves that look the best and very healthy. Fig leaves are known for their health benefits. They are a good source of vitamins and minerals. Fig leaves can offer health benefits such as helping to regulate your blood sugar levels for diabetics. Fig leaves can also help with lowering high cholesterol levels. There is so much information on the internet about fig leaves. It's amazing. Take some time to really read on it to figure out if this is something you would like to look into and doing. If you have fig trees or have someone that has fig trees that you can, get fig leaves and dry yourself. There are a lot of benefits for it. I really love to add mine into my coffee. That's how I really like to do it. But I have also been learning so much more about them and including them into recipes. I do like adding them into soups. You can add it in a dry powdered form or in the dried crushed up leaf form. It's really tasty, but you definitely want to cook it. You don't want to, eat the leaf just as is. So there's definitely a process with it. So definitely, do some research on it. There are many wonderful recipes out there on the internet. I will start slowly adding more recipes to my fig playlist on my channel, so you can learn as I go too. I mean, I'm still learning, but I do enjoy the flavor. So here I have the dried from last year, and I'm getting low. So I have one in the powdered form and one where it's dried and just crumbled up. And this one is a fig leaf clipping that I took from the tree that split in half, and I was able to get one to grow. I'm still learning about how to get the figs to grow, like the clippings from the fig tree to grow into another fig plant. So this one was a winner out of like 30 tries. I've tried like the reroot grow. I've tried sticking them directly in the water. I've tried sticking it directly in some loose, wet soil. So, I'm still learning. I will be taking the branches that we took from today and cut them up and try to see if I can get some more to regrow, because it is nice to have them. And also I'd like to be able to give some to some family members because they are really cute and figs are very beneficial. So I washed the fig leaves quite a few times and rinsed the water out, added new water, repeated that step for a few times, and definitely massaging them too really helps. So that way, if there's anything that is on the leaves, will help break it off. So definitely really keep them nice and clean, make sure they look healthy, nothing alarming or damaging like, brown spots on the leaves or any bugs, spiders, eggs, just really anything nasty. You want to make sure that it's all thoroughly cleaned. So I'm laying mine out on a towel because I'm going to be rolling them up to dry it out faster, because the first batch I want to go ahead and get started in the dehydrating machine so that way I can get this going, because I have quite a bit to go through. And it is a process. It can take anywhere from, I'd say, a good 2 to 4 hours for them to dry. It depends on how wet your fig leaves are. If you have them, dried before putting them in there, it does help speed up the process.
Hi, you helping me? Are you helping me? Thank you. Thank you. Hi, buddy. Want to put those back in the basket for me? Thank you. Hi, you want mama a hug? Okay. Alright, so we're going to get these going.
Now, if you don't have a food dehydrator, you can dry the fig leaves directly in your oven, like for tea, and you would do that at a low temp for 200 and bake it for an hour. Or you can do like a toasting fig leaf for their flavor in the oven at 325 for 8 minutes, and then definitely let the fig leaves cool down, and then you can use them in recipes such as ice cream, cupcakes, cookies, or just as a flavor enhancer in other recipes. Like I said, there's so many different recipes. So here I'm removing stems and putting them on the food dehydrating spinner racks, and this one here has like yellowish color, so I'm definitely removing that now. That sometimes can happen, I think, from sunspots or just the leaf not being completely healthy. But I like to also get my figs earlier in the season than later, because you have better chance at having really nice healthy leaves now, whereas later on they've just been really sitting there for a while. Here I'm repeating the step that we did earlier, just, putting the leaves on the towel to roll up and dry again so I can get more on the spinning racks. And I actually found a really nasty leaf. Let me show you. So there are eggs on this one. This is why I say that you really have to overanalyze your leaves. Don't just assume they're all clean because you washed them. Definitely look at them all. I mean, look at that. That's nasty. You don't want to eat that. So we're going to discard this leaf. Dried fig leaves are good for quite some time, but you need to store them properly. Dried fig leaves can be stored in your pantry for a good 6 to 12 months, but keep them in an airtight container and in a cool, dry area. You can also keep your dried fig leaves that can be stored in the refrigerator for a year, and you can also freeze them as well for a year. I like to put mine in my mason jar and keep them in my pantry. My pantry is cool and dark, so that's how I store mine. And I am able to have it for all year long for recipes, and it's so nice having that. Some signs to look out for if your fig leaves that you dried have gone bad are an off smell, visible mold, that's for sure a sign, if the texture is unusual or discoloration, and even moisture, especially if stored in an airtight container. It is a process, but I'm glad I'm getting this done now in the beginning of the season. Before my fig trees are completely exploding with figs, I am taking care of just getting dried fig leaves now, and this is awesome. But the water, you can see that there are little, things floating around it. That's why it's definitely very important to make sure that you really thoroughly clean your leaves. But again, it is a process, but it is well worth it. So now I'm going to continue getting all the rest of the fig leaves off the branches, and I'm going to rinse all of these and then let them dry on my counter, because my food dehydrator is going right now with the first batch, and then these I will let naturally dry out on my kitchen counter, and I will just keep swapping them out. So as the first batch gets dry, then I will continue to swap these out with newer ones, and it will take me a while. This may be like an all-day thing with my food dehydrator. That's why I definitely tried to get out early and start this process early, because it is time consuming. I do have only one food dehydrator, so, I have to really utilize, when I start to dry things. So this is definitely a huge help right now doing this now, again, because I don't have any figs, that are ready to be picked on my fig tree now, but my leaves are just beautiful right now. So I wanted to take advantage of getting them now before it gets damaged from, them being out in the sun too long. So these are perfect right now, and it'll get hotter too here in North Carolina. So that's also definitely something to take into consideration is, when you get them, how long they've been out there sitting in the sun. Definitely, analyze when you want to take yours and when is the right time for you to actually have time to do this. I love that he always wants to help me when I'm doing things with gardening or in the kitchen. He's just always right next to me. I love it. The only thing I am very concerned about is the sap. I've not seen a lot of sap so far coming off. I've had a little bit, but I have to be very careful and have him to be very careful too because I don't want him to get any of the sap on his hands. There is not a lot of sap coming off this. I normally find the sap coming off when I pinch the figs off the fig tree. That's when I see an abundance of it. But definitely have to be careful because it can burn your skin and some people can have allergic reactions to it. Thankfully, I've not had allergic reaction. I've just had more of like the burning sensation, but not like blisters as I've heard some people in some Facebook groups that I am in about figs and fig trees. And so, definitely do your research on it and, be mindful and careful. Definitely use gloves when picking the figs off the tree. Now that the salad spinner is filled with some fig leaves, we're going to go ahead and wash this up and repeat the steps of making sure they're nice and clean. And here you can see some sap on my hands and also on some of the fig leaves. But that's about it that I saw throughout this whole process with the sap. So just, repeat the steps and, make sure, again, thoroughly wash them and definitely overanalyze them to make sure that you're getting like the healthiest looking fig leaves possible. So again, just repeat all the steps that I've shown you, rinsing them up, drying them, and then putting them on the food dehydrator to let it dry. Or again, you can, dry them in your oven, whichever you would prefer. I definitely love doing them in my food dehydrator because I find that I get a really nice quality of it and I'm very happy. I can't complain. But, again, it is a process. It is time consuming, but that's why I always try to plan out when I do things with my garden and when I dry things. So that way I also have counter space because I have a very small kitchen. So I have to really think of all that when I do stuff to make sure I have enough room in my kitchen for making meals for my family because I got 3 kids and let me tell you, they are hungry all the time. So with the summer coming up soon, school's almost out, this was smart to go ahead and get this done now. The other reason why I like using the food dehydrator over the oven is it doesn't heat my house up. This is perfect. So living here in North Carolina, if I don't have to use my oven, I'm not going to use my oven. But I do a lot of baking, so this is perfect not having to use my oven today. I'm using my food dehydrator to dry my fig leaves. One of the recipes I'm really looking forward to trying this summer is fig leaf ice cream. I'm still reading some other recipes to find what and how I want to do it. So that'll be something next. But here are all the fig leaves that we cleaned up today. And I have my mason jars showing you what I have from last year. And I actually want to go ahead and show you guys how I make my fig leaf coffee. So I am using my coffee grinder. I use whole beans because I'm gluten free. So I always try to be very careful and mindful of, things that are already ground up for coffee being gluten free. So it's a Kirkland brand. I really like it. And I'm just going to go ahead and put it in my coffee grinder. I want to fill it about halfway. And then I'm going to go ahead and take my dried fig leaves from my mason jar and I'm going to put those in there. And you can go crazy with it. You can add as much or as little. Depends on how strong of a flavor you are looking for. So I like to do this to kind of get it ready for the next few days because I don't like to make the coffee in the morning, like grinding it up and then waking the kids up. So this way it's already prepped and ready for me. So there are some little stems. See here, you definitely want to remove that. Sometimes they get in there, when you are crushing them up, it's okay. But you can obviously see that it is just time to remove it, when you go to grind it up. And then we're going to go ahead and top it off with some more coffee beans. And then we're going to go ahead and grind it up. My house smells amazing from the fig leaves drying in the food dehydrator right now. My husband even said, he goes, it smells like coconuts in here. Yep, that's all from the fig leaves. It does give like a coconut vanilla flavor. Oh, it's so tasty and smells amazing too. But it is tasty when you do incorporate it into the food. But I'm trying to get my coffee beans and the fig leaves to be a nice fine grind. So, you can just definitely monitor it to see how you want it to be. But this is how I like mine. It's nice and smooth and I don't have big chunks or anything like that. And so I'm gonna go ahead and put it in my K-cup filter. It's a reusable one. I like them because that way I can do stuff like this, especially with my fig leaves. It makes it perfect. Now I have my K-cup ready and I'm just gonna go ahead and close this up so this stays fresh for the next few days. And we're gonna go ahead and make some coffee. Yes, my Keurig is a really old machine. One day I will update it, but it's still doing its thing. I kind of get some coffee grind here and there that comes through. I think just because I need to really get in there and kind of give it a real good deep clean. But it still makes some great coffee and it helps me get through my day, especially with 3 kids and everything that I do and need to get done. But, having this flavor is really tasty. I like it. And, the fun thing too is you can, really make your own coffee the way you like it. So that makes it fun too. And plus, I'm saving a lot of money. Coffee going out can be fun, but it really adds up fast. So, and also being gluten free, I never know what's all in the coffee that you go out to get. So, this I am knowing that I'm putting in things that I can drink and not get sick from. You don't have to add sugar. You can make it however you would like to. I like adding just a little bit. And then I'm also going to add some coffee creamer as well. I'm using vanilla caramel. This one I got from Walmart and it is gluten free. I also like getting my creamers too from Aldi's. And I also like to use half and half and make it like a whipped top too as well. And that can be really fun. But when I use the half and half and make it a whipped top, I actually taste more of the natural flavor of the fig leaf coming through. Whereas this one with the vanilla caramel, I'm getting like a coconut nutty flavor with it. This is what I have in the house right now, but I do like to kind of cool mine down just a little bit, because especially when I want to go ahead and have some. But also, this is fun too to make iced coffee with. I like doing that a lot in the summer, is going ahead and just making my coffee with the fig leaves in it, and then I can make like cold coffee. Also, those mornings, sometimes I like to do Slim Fast and then doing like my coffee and Slim Fast and then some almond milk. That's really tasty too. I like doing that, so that's a lot of fun. But I'm just gonna go ahead and take my leaves and just kind of spruce them here and there to kind of let the water drip through down to the bottom so they dry a little bit faster, so that way, once the time is up on the other ones and they're dried, I can go ahead and repeat the steps. And here's what I have for all my branches. So I'm definitely going to discard the green ones because I found the green ones really flop over and there's no strength. So those I don't have any luck with trying to reroot. Again, no, I did 30 sticks last summer and I only got one. So we're going to try this again and see how we do. But some of the leaves are already ready to go ahead and put into a Ziploc bag. I'm not putting them into a mason jar yet because I'm going to go ahead and just put it in a Ziploc bag for now because I'm crunched on time. I'm trying to get this done. My kids are going to be home soon. It's Friday, so I need to make dinner as well. And we're also going to go outside and enjoy the splash pad because it's nice weather today. We're going to have some rain coming up soon. So I just really want to try to get out there and enjoy the nice weather while we have it. But again, just keep redoing the steps to make sure that you are doing everything right, processing this through. You will know when the leaves are done being dried when you crunch them and it has that dry, crunchy texture to it. You want to make sure that you don't feel any moisture or anything still wet or like soft. You want it to be crunch. You will hear it crunch when you crunch it in your hands in a bag. But I definitely prefer putting mine in an airtight container. I love using my mason jars. It works the best. Not only are fig leaves healthy for you, but they are fun to cook with. It enhances flavors and makes things so different and amazing and tasty. But thank you guys for watching. I hope you guys have a great day and a great weekend. Take care, guys. Bye.